Don't feel stiff.
Like
you got to move around.
I'm gonna have to hold my hand. You hold my hand.
Yeah.
Hold his hand. Come on, hold his hand.
We're all physical touching here.
You comfy?
Yeah.
As comfy as you're gonna get. Are you comfy?
I'm chilling. This is really good.
Yeah.
I'm sad I don't have my mug, but that's okay.
All right. I'll count us in.
Yep.
All
Okay.
right.
So the way it works is we do the countdown. We go do, and then we come back.
Yeah.
That's it.
Am I supposed to go?
You do
I might
you
have you do the da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Just be yourself. You ready?
Episode 8.
I'll say it.
Taking the roof off loss, and then you can go into that.
I'll go into everything.
Yeah. Let's do it.
All right. You ready?
Wait. Any prophetic words?
Any prophetic words?
Has anybody ever called you anything?
Yeah, but I ain't getting into that here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cowboy.
Okay.
Call him
Cowboy. You call him Rip. Okay. Cool.
All right. Here we go. Count us in. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the No Roof Podcast. We are on episode Ocho.
Ocho.
So we're going to have an Ocho kind of time.
I like it.
We have an amazing cowboy with us.
Come on.
Not redneck. Cowboy. Or country guy.
Country
boy.
Country
boy,
Coming from California, I'm learning the difference between these words. They mean different things.
You got a
Redneck
ways
is
to
not
go,
country,
buddy.
right?
You got a
I'm
ways
learning.
to go.
I know I don't want to get shot because I know everyone has guns in this state. So learning that too.
Not everyone.
Choo-choo, we have an amazing episode.
Yes, absolutely.
Let's say everyone, we have Rooster in the sound booth working the sound. We have Jackie Jack doing all this stuff.
We
Jackie
love
Jack.
Jack.
We
Yep.
love Jack. Jack. We love Jack. Now, on 3, I'm going to have us all clap so we can do the sound thing. Everyone
do it.
clap on 3. 1, 2, 3. That was good. That was very good.
I
All
did
right.
another one.
Now, before we introduce this amazing, handsome, single cowboy,
Come on now.
he likes, he likes long walks on the
left-hand
beach
reveal.
or long walks in the country.
No, sitting at the beach with
He likes hunting.
water.
But anyways, before we go into that, let's go into that intro. All right, welcome back, episode 8. We have an amazing friend of ours here today. His name is Pastor J.R. Judd. Come on, clap it up,
Yes,
clap it
we
up,
love
clap it
you
up, clap it up.
so much.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming. I
Yes.
nickname you Handsome.
And you're handsomer.
Rip,
So-
cowboy, and good looking.
Yes.
So we have it's always touchy subjects when we get into it eventually. But Choo-Choo, what are we taking the roof off today?
Today we're taking the roof off loss.
Loss.
Yes.
So I think this is an important one. It's a tough one, and it's I guess Rooster said it. Another word for loss would be disappointment. It's talking about what do we do when we have an outcome that we didn't want. You know, when we prayed for something, we were hoping for something, and it didn't turn out the way we wanted.
Yeah.
How do we deal with that? Because I think every human being has to go through that.
Oh, I mean, the whole world went through it.
Yeah, everyone, right? I mean, no one
Yeah.
has a monopoly on disappointments.
That's
It's
right.
all of ours. Like, we
Yeah.
all have to go through
Equal opportunity.
Equal opportunity.
come on
We're all in
now.
the same boat on that one. So
Yeah.
I really wanted to talk about, as believers and with God in our life, how do we deal with loss? How do we deal with not getting what we wanted? And we could share stories, even talk about it. So let's talk about, should we break down that word loss?
Yeah, I think let's take the roof off loss.
I mean, for me, it's just really it's simple. It's like not getting what you wanted.
Yeah.
Like,
So what do you mean? Like, is that just when a loved one passes away?
It could
Or
be
when
a-
you get an F? Or
it could be anything.
or when you prayed for a car and you didn't get it? Like, what do you mean?
I think it's when you're hoping for something. Could be anything. It could be a prayer. Could be the Packers. It could be.
Hold on. I was going to take a turn, man. Don't take my thunder.
Hey, my
I was
Raiders
ready.
are out too.
I was ready.
My Raiders are out too. So
Yes.
it's when
That's why I
you're
wear my green on, buddy. I'm mourning. I'm mourning the loss of the Packers. They lost Saturday. I'm mourning. I had to wear my green.
Hey, you guys did better than us. But I think there you go. It's just it's when
Yeah, come
you
on.
put your heart into something
Yes, come on.
and you didn't get the outcome you wanted.
That's
Correct.
it.
Yeah.
Right? And I think it goes across the board.
Love that.
I mean, we all have history. Some of us have lost loved ones, close ones, and how did we deal with it? And then did we learn from it?
That's right.
And when it happened again, did we learn from the last one? You know, because each one of us have lost people, or even we went through an outcome we didn't want.
That's right.
So I'm usually the one. I'll go first.
Come on.
All right, let's
You
go
got
into
this.
it.
Come on.
So when I was back in college in California, I don't know what happened, but it felt like my family was cursed to where I lost my aunt, my grandma, and my grandpa all within a year.
Wow.
So this was my mom's sister.
Well, go ahead.
So it started as this. I was just there going to college,
Mm-hmm,
and then my grandpa had a fall. And so he had to go to a rehab place, and he was getting fixed. And then all of a sudden, my aunt had a stroke.
Wow.
Massive stroke. and then I think she was 2 weeks, and then that was it. And this was someone that was actually very close to me. At that time, I was going to college, and I told her I was going to pursue acting. I was like, hey, I think about minoring in theater. And she was like, Abel, I'm going to be your biggest fan. And like,
Oh,
she's like, I'll be there.
oh,
I'll be there. Long story short, like, she just had a massive stroke and died. And like, I'll
that's
never
horrible.
forget it. I'll never forget my mom's scream. It's like I talked to her. She's like, I haven't heard from Aunt Susie. And she goes, we were sitting down, and she goes, something's wrong. It's like she knew, like, something's wrong. Anyways, they broke into her house, and they found her on the floor.
Wow.
So that happened, and then my grandma died in her sleep. My dad saw her like the day before, and then eventually my grandpa came to live with us, and then he passed away. And it was a tough year because I was coming home to a crying mom for a whole year.
Wow.
And like, that was so hard. It was so hard. I mean, you guys know, we're all sons. Hearing your mother cry, that's painful.
Duffy.
Yeah.
And I know for me, this was the crazy part. The opening of my play was my Aunt Susie's viewing.
Wait, what?
So the first day of the opening of my play, my first play ever,
Oh, so you're gonna go
was
and
the
perform.
same day as the viewing.
Gotcha.
Wow.
Okay.
So
what happened?
I had to go to the viewing to see her body.
Wow.
And like, I had the brochure, with my name in it, and the credit, and I kind of put it with her body. And I was just like, I'm gonna go do this, and you're not gonna be there. That was kind of hard because I knew she was like, Abel, go after this.
Wow.
Like, go after this. She was like a big fan about it.
That's beautiful.
And I don't know. I know for me, it was hard. It was hard, but I think because of my history with God, for me getting over loss, I don't know how you guys think this way, but I kind of go towards the vengeance route.
What do you mean?
Like
towards God?
no, towards the enemy.
Mm.
Oh,
Like,
wow.
I didn't blame God,
Yes.
Okay.
but I
Good
remember
job.
saying, devil, I'm going to make you pay. Because we all know Jesus came to give life and life more abundantly. And we were praying, I believe she was supposed to live. No, not attack like that. That was not supposed to happen. But because she did pass, and I was like I remember I said, wow, thinking about this now. I remember I said, devil, I'm not going to pay for my college.
Wow.
Like,
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna get I'm gonna make you pay for something. Like, you're gonna pay for something. Anyways, long story short, this is before I even found speech and debate in college, but I eventually got like a scholarship to go to school.
That's amazing.
Oh, wow.
But that was one for me. But I think even going through the emotions, it was hard.
Yeah.
Like, have you guys ever gone through something like that where it's like, how do you stay connected to God?
Yeah. Pass?
I'll take a turn.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah.
So I had a similar thing, not all in a year, but my dad fought a 2-year battle with cancer.
Wow.
So that's you deal with the loss long before the loss comes. So he passed away in November, and then within 4 months, his mom passed away, which was my grandmother.
Wow.
Then within, I think, 8 months, my dad's dad passed away. They were both, granddaddy was 90, so they were older people, but he died. And then a few months after that, within a span of less than 3 years from when my dad died, then his sister died and her husband.
Wow. Oh my
So basically,
gosh.
that whole generation of the Judds were all gone. So my thing, I knew God and all of that, but my first instinct was fear because I was the next one in line.
Gotcha.
Wow, no way.
Yeah.
Wow.
I
wow.
really went through that. I'm next. So I started calculating how much time it was between my dad, his mom, his dad,
to get a time frame.
to get a time frame to see how much time I had.
Oh my
my
gosh.
gosh.
You know what I mean? So I was counting.
Is that scary?
Yes. It's very scary. Fear just came in.
Mhm.
And as I was calculating, I'm like, stop. This is
Good job.
just nuts.
How did
No.
you know to stop though?
Because I knew I'd learned enough to know where my mind and my body was taking me was not going to a good place.
Ooh,
And I knew if
ooh.
I timed it all out, I would basically be plotting my own future.
Yeah.
Wow.
I would be plotting what was going. And I'm like, I want to live a long time. I want to live to be
Come on.
90 like my grandfather did.
Come
I
on.
don't want to die young.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that fear is just crazy when it comes in. But
Yeah.
you skipped a whole lot of steps.
I
when
know,
you
I know.
went, good job.
I wanted
That's the way it's supposed to be.
But no, but I mean, I just didn't talk about it. I think now you're kind of opening it up. But I think let's talk about those moments where it's like you have to talk to God and say,
Yes.
Yeah.
it didn't happen.
Yeah, it's true.
Like, how was it? Like when he?
Well, you get mad.
Yeah.
You get mad. I mean, my dad was one of the faith giants in my life and in this church's life. You know,
Oh,
so you look at him and
Can you just take the roof off Faith Giant? Like, what does that mean?
he was the starter of the church. He was the one you went and got to go pray for you.
Wow.
When something was up and you got answers, things just happened. You know
Wow,
what I mean?
wow,
It was
wow,
just,
wow.
He was there. Like when you read the Bible, then the next chapter in the Bible would have been like Pastor Barry, my dad, some other people that you really looked up to that
Wow.
taught these things and were just
Oh my gosh.
and were just people you look up to. They're still human. You know, they had
Yeah.
their frailties and stuff, but they knew God.
Yeah.
You
Wow.
know?
And then he ended up getting diagnosed with cancer.
Correct.
This faith giant did that.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
That's
So that's just
how was that
interesting.
hard? Like how was
yes.
that?
Yes. I mean, people come up and ask me, how did your dad,
Yes.
how did this happen to your dad?
Mhm.
I'm like, I can't necessarily answer that.
Wow.
You know, I
Thank you.
don't know. You know what I mean?
Did you ever have like moments where you thought about walking away from God?
No, I never thought about walking away from God. I did get frustrated with God that I didn't get the results I wanted.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Same.
You know, I did do
Same.
that. But to me, that was a pride issue.
Yeah.
Ooh,
You
come
know,
on. Take me from
pride
that, Pastor.
just-
What's that?
pride.
What's pride?
Pride, I don't want to look bad. I don't want my dad to look bad. You know, it's about the family name and it's about
Wow.
who we are as a
my
as
gosh.
an image. You know,
Yeah.
imagery is dumb.
Come on, Pat. That is
In
beautiful.
a lot of ways. It's about the heart, you
Come
know,
on now.
and
Come on.
you know, and I watched my dad walk through all of this and he wasn't worried about image. He kept staying alive because mom wanted him to.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Finally he's like, let me go.
Wow.
Let me go. I know where I'm going. I know what's going on. I don't want to leave, but I don't want to live the way I'm
Wow.
living. So we honored that. And then when you have that conversation and you know that's what's going on, then it's a little bit easier to let the loss go. You know,
Wow.
but I never went after the devil to say you owe me this. That never crossed my mind.
Yeah, you know what
'Cause that's
saved
like
me?
getting even. I'm not always. I try to
Yeah,
stay away
you know
from
what
that.
saved me? You're gonna know Graham Cook.
Mm.
I was listening to Graham Cook teach, and he's the one who's
Right.
talking about that. He's like, when the enemy gets you, like it is as a son, a child of God, it's your absolute destiny to get vengeance,
Wow.
to get a
Yeah.
hundredfold of what the devil did. That to me, like that was a big one for me. Like hearing
Mhm.
that teaching kind of saved me because, like
Right.
you, I was, and I think everyone that goes through loss has to go through that. It's either going to be fear or it's going to be, you know what I mean? You hit that
Yeah.
point where, like you said, you started counting. Even the pride thing. Now that you said that, I even think I might even blamed me at times because
Yeah.
Oh,
I
yeah,
prayed.
yeah.
I prayed,
Yeah.
and she didn't get up.
Yeah, exactly. So I
like-
was gonna say, how do you handle that? Where it's like I'm praying, I'm wholeheartedly praying, and it didn't happen, and then you start thinking maybe I don't hear God,
Yeah.
or maybe prayer really doesn't work. Like I'm just being real. Like why do we go down that avenue?
Yeah.
You know, and like how do we stay away from that avenue?
Yeah.
And is it okay that we did go down that avenue?
I think it's okay.
Mhm.
It just depends. It just depends where you stop.
Right.
Ooh,
Correct.
Like
Come on.
hopefully you
Okay,
end back
okay.
in
Yes.
God.
That's
I think even there, like what Pastor JR was saying, like you don't want to lead down that trail of fear for so long. I mean,
Right.
we all go there a little
Yes.
bit. We
Sure.
all go there a little
Sure.
bit.
Yeah.
Sure.
You know, it doesn't mean we have to camp out there and like
Yes,
you know
true.
unpack our luggage
Yes.
there.
A little bit of fear will lighten you up and send you somewhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you go the
Oh,
right
oh,
way.
come on.
I
Fear
mean,
can
oh my
be very
God.
motivating,
Yeah.
positively if you allow it.
Seriously, wow,
Mm.
wow, that's really good.
I know. I mean, this is where it's so crucial to go. You have people around you to help you.
Come on.
To keep
Yes.
pointing you back to Him.
Yes.
Mm.
And I think not everyone has that. With the church, you know, hopefully you're around people to go, no, this is, you know, God hasn't changed.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
so I know for me going through it, I remember listening to even Bill Johnson because he says the same thing. They all have these testimonies where, you know, they prayed for cancer, they died. Even David
Right.
Hogan, he was saying God called him to go to Mexico. And for the first 5 years, he said everyone he prayed for died.
Oh my
Right.
gosh.
Right.
5 years.
5 years. I think it was like 5 years.
Yeah,
He
we
was
can't
like,
even go like 5 days.
I know. He was like everyone he
Five-
prayed for
five-
died. And he's like, God. But here's the thing, though. He stood on that. Well, God still
Right.
told me.
Right. Exactly.
You know what I
Wow.
mean? It's
Exactly.
like, I know she died, but he still told me to lay hands on the stick. He still told me to do this. And I think that's where you got to go. It's like,
Mhm.
is it still his, you know, his word?
That's
Right.
right.
Or am I going to go into the me thing, the pride thing?
Pride thing.
Yeah,
Because
gonna say
I almost
pride.
blamed me too. I was
Mhm.
blaming me like, man, I don't know.
Wow.
But I will say this: when you go through a lot, you do kind of go, okay, how serious is my God walk?
Correct.
Mm.
Correct.
Did that go with you?
Yeah.
I know when I lost, it was like, am I actually like,
Right.
you know what I mean? Like,
Is this something I just talk about or is it real?
yeah,
Ooh, come on now. Come
yeah.
on.
But,
Come on.
but I like to back up just a little bit.
yeah, please.
Of course.
Going back to the what ifs. You know, when somebody passes, the what ifs are terrible. You know what I mean? Your mind goes, well, what if I'd have prayed this away? Or what if I'd have asked this person?
Yeah.
Or what if I'd have done
What if I
this?
fasted? What if I,
Yeah. What if I fasted or just did this? Or what if I told God I would die instead of them? And people just do crazy things, and you can't go there. You know what I mean? Or you can go there, but you can't stay there. Like we've been saying, that's the whole ticket of all this. I think with loss is don't stay in whatever predicament that you're in. But to me, back to the what'll drive you forward, like fear. The what ifs is like, okay, don't have what ifs anymore.
It's good.
You know what I mean? If I want to tell you guys something or think I should tell you guys something, I should do it and not come in on Tuesday and like you're not here anymore. And I wish I would have said this to you, or wish I would have done this.
Wow.
That's a real thing with loss, is people get frustrated that they didn't do some of the what ifs.
Yeah.
You know, so the real thing is how to learn life today. Live life today.
Come on,
live it like it's important and do what you're supposed to do today. Don't wait until a what if comes.
Right.
Wow.
You know?
I think that's a word that I think humanity, just to get to the end of life and have regrets.
Get correct.
Right. I think every
Correct.
person I've talked to at the end of their race always, that's the word you don't want to have.
It's
Correct.
regrets.
I wish I would have, you
Correct.
know. So I think you bring up a good point. I want to tear a roof off the word, though. All three of us. Because everyone that loses something or goes through something, they say this word, mourning. What does that mean to mourn? Like, to you guys, honestly? Like, I was thinking about that because we all have to mourn, right? So we lose
Yeah, I
someone,
think so.
and
It's true.
so what is mourning to you guys?
So for me, I think the biggest roof that was taken off of me was when I first started coming to church. I think I was like a year or two in, and the pastor came. His name was Pastor Rob, and he came and he was talking about water baptism and being born again and what it was like to be in life. And he said this thing that I think the church has a bad rap for it. In the way that I grew up, it was a person died because God needed another choir angel.
Oh, Lord.
Is the way that like I used to always hear. Like it was God's idea that this person died. Like they died because they were done. And the way that the pastor said it, he was like, why would he say that about his son? Why would he say that about his daughter? And then he started talking about how he has a daughter and a son, and he was like, I will never want them to die just to be with me. He's like, that's why Jesus was sent. So
Right.
Jesus can die so we don't have to die.
Yeah.
And it was the first time I ever heard that of oh my gosh, it wasn't God's idea that my grandma passed away.
Right.
You know, because for me, the way that I actually didn't even show emotion, I don't even think I cried. I don't think I mourned. Like I because what stopped me was it was God's idea that she died. And then I didn't process. And actually I was angry at God. And I was like, God, why did you take away my grandma? Like she had so much left. She hasn't seen grandkids. I love the candy that she used to make me. You know what I mean?
Right.
But I never got a chance to feel. And I think for me, mourning is an opportunity to be like, God, this is me at my most weakest state, my most vulnerable state, with my heart wide open. Can I just be your son for now and share every feeling that I have, the good, the bad, and the ugly? And I think that's why mourning is important. But I think what stopped me from being able to feel that was thinking that it was God who took her away.
Gotcha.
You know?
Right.
But that's for me with mourning.
That's good.
An opportunity to express how you feel to God unashamed.
Yeah.
Pastor Jar?
Handsome.
It's a tough one. I mean, you know, just to be a little bit biblical, I mean, mourning to me, I had to kind of go with this with Jesus when his buddy John the Baptist died.
Come on.
I mean,
Yeah,
Lazarus. Yes, Lazarus. When
Lazarus.
died.
Yeah.
I get my names out of whack here sometimes. You know, and it talks about Jesus wept.
That's
you know what I mean?
right.
It didn't say he mourned, but he cried. He wept. You know what I mean? So this was someone who was very close to him. He was a friend, and you know, he went and seen his sisters too. But he really had a thing for him.
Yeah.
You know, for Lazarus. He really did. So when you look at that and think, it's not wrong to cry.
That's right.
It's not wrong to mourn. You know what I mean? But Jesus turned his mourning into raising him from the dead. You know what I mean? Which is,
That's
My
good.
gosh,
we got something to live, you know, to look up to go and do that.
Oh, wow.
But to me personally, just mourning is you just miss the candy the grandma made, and you miss the things. And then the older you get, you wish you'd have wrote down some of the stuff they said.
It's true.
So it's just you're just mourning the thought of they're not with you. Because I have the hope and the confidence of where they are, and I know I'll see them again.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
but I liked having them here. I liked that.
Yeah.
You know, and that's to me that's part of the mourning, you know? So, and to me, to mourn means I loved.
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Pull us in a little bit, just a little bit. Say that one more time.
What did I say?
To mourn?
To mourn is to show you loved. You know what I
Wow.
mean? You don't mourn someone you don't love.
Oh,
I
know
never
what I
thought
mean?
about that.
That's
yeah,
beautiful.
unless you're just doing guilt, but that's not really mourning.
Right.
It's guilt. But when my grandparents all passed away, I mourned them because they loved me and I loved them. So there truly was an absence of love from them that I couldn't get from anyone else.
Wow.
So that's the mourning for me. It's just the loss of them not being with me. It's kind of a selfish thing. You know what I mean? Because they're good. They're good. I know where all of my grandparents are. My dad, they're good.
Yeah.
I'm not concerned about them. I just miss them.
Yes. Wow.
That's the whole thing. I drive by their houses every day. I see their houses, and and you just miss them. But also on the other side of that, my thing is to turn that around. Who's going to mourn my death? Who am I loving enough that they will miss me when I'm gone?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's to me how you turn mourning into a positive.
That's so good, Pastor.
Who's going to mourn me, or they're all going to be like, yeah, I'm glad he's out of here.
Oh my gosh,
I'll
no.
get my I'll get my parking place back. He won't park in the way, but his truck won't be there in the way
You got
anymore.
your big old truck. Oh man, that's beautiful though. I love what you said.
But you gotta what we want, what we receive, then we got to be willing to give back.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you mourn properly, then you realize what you actually received, and are you willing to give that to someone else?
Wow.
Yeah.
But it hurts though. It hurts to feel that.
It hurts like a word you guys said I couldn't say here, even though it's in the Bible. It hurts that bad.
How do you guys? I'm curious. Like even that word more. How do you begin to like even? Like you said to me, mourning. Like you said, you're going to go through kind of what Celeste said last time. Is you're going to go through that heart place.
Yeah, the heart
and
place.
go room by room in there.
Yes.
And go through every emotion.
It's true.
Whether if it's anger,
Yes.
sadness,
Yes.
regret,
Resentment, yeah.
Depression.
depression.
Depression's a
Ooh.
big one when it comes to loss.
You
People
know?
get depressed.
Wow.
People get depressed when their football team loses.
Very true.
I'm okay with that.
Very
It's a
true.
game. It's a game. But yeah, it's a lot of rooms in there.
How do you guys begin that talk with God?
Yeah.
Like,
Pastor?
how do you do it? Like, I'm just curious. Like, do you go on walks? Do you? I know we all mourn different. I'm just
Yeah.
curious.
Yes.
So, like with your dad,
To me,
did
it was
you-
just telling their story.
okay.
Telling their story to someone who I trusted, that if I got a little emotional or I got a little whatever,
Yes, that's it.
I was just able to tell their story out loud.
Mm.
You know what I mean? And just to say that, and then you guys both know me. I learn so much when I talk about
Yeah.
myself.
Wow, come on.
And the more I have someone I trust that I know will listen to me
Yes.
and that will keep my confidence, then I will truly expose my heart.
Yeah.
And then I find out where I really am. And then when
Yeah.
I hear myself, I locate myself, and then I know more about what I need.
Come on.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Am I going down the bad road or am I going down the good road?
Yes,
You know?
yes.
And then if my friends that I truly trust, they will pull my bootstraps up, as the old saying goes, right, buddy, you're going down, no,
You're going too far left here.
You're going too
Yeah.
far left. Let's get back up here in the middle of the road again. And those are friendships you can't buy.
Yeah.
That's a good point. I think what is that called? Like external processing.
Yeah,
Yes, I'm an external
processing.
I
processor
think
big time.
And I think we all have to have that. I mean, I don't know if we're all external processing, but we all, I think, will have to go through a point where you have to do that.
Yeah.
There's something about, like, I wouldn't consider myself an external processor.
Okay.
My wife, absolutely.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
you know,
She's a
you know,
Norton girl.
I am an internal processor.
Yes.
But I'm learning more and more because of you guys and the family that God has placed me. And the more I external process, the more revelation I get. You know
That's
what I mean?
right. Yeah,
It's like
that's
I'll
what
be
it is.
talking
Yes.
to you, even her, and I'm like, oh, I never. Oh, wow. You know, all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, I need
I
to do
love
this
that.
more.
Right.
Yeah.
But I
Good
used to
job.
think like, you know, I'm a caveman. Like how with my my aunt dying and my grandparents,
Yeah,
for me, I
right.
would just walk. I would go on runs,
Okay.
go to the beach, and just kind of like,
Right.
you know, talk out loud and journaling. That was a big one for
Yes,
me.
that's a big
Journaling.
one.
That's so
So,
good.
I'm not a
Um,
journaler, but I talk to people that are.
Yeah.
And that's their verbal processing.
That's beautiful.
For a
It
lot
helps.
of people.
Yeah.
I
Yes,
would get
yes.
I get a glass of wine and I
Okay.
would sit at a typewriter.
A typewriter,
I
like
love
old school.
So I journal.
Oh.
You catch me sometimes with a typewriter.
Yeah.
I have something about it, but I would just kind of like just talking to him like talking to you, just Father, you
Right.
know, and just keep
Right.
going. And
He's a
just-
great listener.
He's a great
Man, he's a
Yeah,
listener.
great
that's it.
listener.
He's a great listener.
and he could take it,
yes.
Yes.
and he's not surprised.
Yes.
Hey,
You
come
know what I
on, say
mean?
that again.
Like
Come on.
he can take it, and he's not surprised. Like, you know, if I'm angry at him,
Right.
like he doesn't turn his back and go, "Oh my gosh." You
Yeah,
know, it's
right.
like,
or takes his love away from you.
yeah, he
Correct.
doesn't pull away.
He just pours it
doesn't
on
pull away.
more.
He like even he puts you tucks you even closer.
Yeah, it's true.
You know, to where
Right.
it's like you want to scream and cry, and he's like, "Do it."
Yeah,
I almost,
it's okay.
you know what I mean? It's like I think we've all gotten to that place where it's like you don't want to cry and you finally get there and you're
Yes.
gonna feel so good to cry. You know what I'm talking about?
Why did it take so long?
Come on.
I'm
No.
not there. I'm still not
Oh man, you know what I'm saying though? Like all of a sudden you just catch yourself and you're just like, oh, and you're like, this feels so,
Yeah.
You're like, oh, that needed to happen.
Yes.
Yes.
You know, for me, that takes a while.
Yeah, stay right there. That takes a while. We're going to flip the tape.
Flip the tape.
It feels good when you get it out.
Yeah.
I'm with you on that. With journaling, with talking,
External
and
processing.
crying, the emotional stuff.
Yeah.
true.
You get it out. You can't hold it in. That's what kills you.
That's
You know?
where I
Come
think
on
a lot of
now.
people
that's,
go.
that's just that's like the cancer. It just stays inside you and
Yes.
it brews
It
and it
gets
percolates,
toxic.
it
Yes.
ferments, and it's
true.
toxic. Good job.
Yeah.
Good
Well,
word.
why do we hold on to it, though? Why do we do that? Truthfully, like, I already know, like, I needed it Sunday, right? Like, Sunday we had prayer, you know, and I was just like, God, like, I need to cry. Like, I just need to be with you, you know?
Yeah.
Right.
But it came from this place. So I think there's key words that God highlights. And like Jackie came to me, my wife, and she was like, hey, you just need to know that there's choices and you can make a choice.
Correct.
And then, you know, me, I'm a practical dude. So I'm like, God, am I choosing A or am I choosing B? And he's like, it has nothing to do with A or B. It's the fact that we get to talk now. And he was like, so
Yeah.
I needed you to come to this place where you can talk to me. And then I'm talking to him. I was like, all right, God, what is it that we need to talk about? And he's like, you fall apart very easily, Rafa. He's like, your heart falls apart easily.
Mhm.
And I was like, I'm a crybaby? And he's like, no. He's like, you let little things get to you for no reason.
Mhm.
And he was like, and that's bad practice because when the big things happen, then you get hit in a place where you're doing it without me.
Right.
And he was like, so it's okay that you are fragile. Just let me be the one to hold you together.
Yeah.
And really what he was teaching me was how to detach emotionally with him in a situation in a healthy way. Because we can detach and suppress, or we can detach and not care about people, or we can detach and be isolated, where when we detach with God or allow him to hold us with us, then we get to have real conversations. And in that place, most of the time, logically, it doesn't make sense. He's just holding me and I'm crying and I feel so
Yeah.
much better after. So to me, it's like, why do we hold on to ourselves? Like, why do we shove it in so much?
I don't know. What do you think, Pastor?
That famous word. We love to be in control.
Ooh.
We
Pride.
just love
So
to be in
pride
control.
thing?
Back to the pride thing. We
Come
want to be
on,
in
man.
control.
Dang.
It's like we don't want someone to pass because it didn't ask us for permission.
Wow.
You know what I mean? We
oh
wanna-
my
we wanna-
gosh.
We want to be in control of our destiny. We want to be in control of everybody and
Yeah.
everything. And that's a
Wow.
hard one.
Wow,
It's just
yeah.
a hard one.
Dang.
Yeah.
You know?
That's good.
Yeah.
And you have to accept that there is a higher power,
Yeah.
and we have to accept
God's
that
going to be God.
God's going to be God. But we're not saying God's taking the people that
Right.
lost.
Yeah.
But we're not God.
But we're not God, and people make choices.
Yeah.
People make choices, and
Ooh.
some of their
Ooh, come on.
choices aren't good ones. And you get a whole lot of bad choices, and the result is not always good.
Wow, Pastor.
You know what I mean?
Oh my gosh.
You get grandparents that drink and smoke when they're younger, and then certain parts of their body don't function for a real long time. And there's
Yeah.
healing. I'm with you on that, but still,
Wow.
there are
There's
choices that are
Yeah.
made, and we can't control other people. We
Other
do
people's
good
choices.
to control ourselves.
Yeah.
We do
hard.
real
It's
good.
hard.
It's hard to control ourselves, but somehow we want to go control
Other people.
somebody else,
That's
and
good.
and control their destiny
Mm.
and control what their life is going to be like. And that's not how it's meant to be, because none of us
Yeah.
want to be controlled.
That's right.
Right.
Yeah.
I think,
That's good, Pastor.
what's the scripture you always say in Romans 8?
There's no
Uh,
condemnation for those that love God.
No, but
All things work together for the good of those that love God.
say it slower.
Oh, sorry. All things work together for the good of those that love God and are called according to his purpose.
And I think that's a big one. I think about that. Like, how do you find the good in the loss?
Mm.
You know, like I'm gonna bring this up, kind of touchy. We here at Living Faith Church, like we lost a family member during this whole thing. And
Okay.
I think right, we all
Yeah.
lost
Yeah.
someone
Yeah,
very close to us.
Yes.
And we went through it together. We were
Yes.
praying. We were. I mean,
Mhm.
I know you were praying up the wazoo. We all
Right.
were
Yep.
praying. We were
Right.
getting together.
Yeah.
And we lost someone.
Mhm.
We didn't get an outcome that I think we wanted.
It's
No,
true.
Not even close.
Yeah.
Not even close.
No.
I mean, I kind of want to go around. Like, what did you guys think about that? What did God show you? And just how did you guys deal with that loss? Because I think it hit all of us differently. I mean, I know you've known him for a long time.
Decades.
I mean,
The good, the bad, the
the
ugly.
good, the
We
bad,
went
the
through
ugly.
we went through the passing of our dads together, basically.
Wow.
He lost his dad.
My
I lost my
gosh.
dad within a couple of years of each other.
Wow.
And we're roughly the same age too.
Yeah.
So we had a lot of discussions about how do we go on, how do we take care of our moms,
Oh,
and
good job.
then what do we do with our kids, and yeah. So I had become pretty connected to him during all of that. So,
Mm.
yeah, that's still a sticky one.
Yeah.
There's still a memorial of him on my desk that I
Mhm,
keep there to remind me of him, and just to remember back to what I said. I went through a lot of the what ifs with him because I wasn't able to go visit him or see him when he was going through stuff, so I couldn't kind of go and give what I wanted to give. I had to give it all to God. I couldn't do it with him.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so I go back to that was part of my lesson of the what ifs. Don't have what ifs anymore.
Yeah.
Me learning that with him. Don't have people in your life that you wish you would have gone and done things. But it's still
touchy, right?
Wow.
it's that was a toughie.
So how did you handle those what ifs? Like, how were you able to finally let it out? Like, did you find somebody? Did you journal?
No,
Did you drive?
handling the what ifs is like now I don't have the what ifs with someone else.
Oh, I got
went-
you.
I
I,
went
get
that
what you're
way.
saying. You
I
maximize it with the.
With other people because I don't want what ifs with them if
got
something
you.
happened to them.
I understand.
So
I got it.
went that way. So my what ifs with him is like you go and talk to someone about him. You have discussions about him, a mutual friend, and like this is what I would want to tell him if I could talk to
That's
him one
beautiful.
more time. These would be the beautiful things I would want to say to him and say he's still irritating, but I still love him. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? You can be irritating and still be loved.
That's
you know what I mean?
beautiful.
Just like
Yeah.
I irritated him. We both had that. We both were just very prickly with each other, but there was a connection between the two of us that happened during the loss of our dads. We just got connected about that, which built a friendship.
Yes.
But our two personalities were just prickly with each other.
Yeah,
And it was amazing. It was amazing. We laughed about it. It was fun. It was
Yeah.
but it was who we were.
That's so good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. I think for me it was tough because like I remember we had a big giant prayer thing and like we
Right.
took hours to pray and I heard
Multiple ones, right?
Yeah.
multiple, but in this specific
yeah.
one I heard the voice of God and he was like go to his wife and say, hey, quote scripture, it was like your faith has made him well. And I was like, God, that's so scary. Like that's a big boy prayer. Like you're telling me that he's healed. And I was like, so I'm not gonna do it. And so like I walked around and prayed in tongues and like I was just like, God, I don't want to say this. Like, what if? The what ifs. And God used that what if. He's like, but what if this is what heals him?
Yeah.
He was like, won't you want to be able to, you and I have a conversation later and say, okay, at least I tried. At least I was obedient. At least I was able to go and look like a fool or be humiliated or get rid of pride and at least give him a chance. And that I had to build myself up. And I went up to her and I was like, hey, this is just what I feel from God. Okay, it's up to you if you're going to take it or not. I was like, this is just what I feel from God. I put my hand and I was like, be of good cheer. Like your faith has made him well. And I think literally the next day or that night, they were like, he passed away. And then I had to be real with God because I wanted to shove it in and be like, I was such an idiot. Like, I can't believe I did that. Like, I can't imagine what I did to her. And God was like, whoa, you're making it about all you.
Right.
You're
Good
making
job.
it all about you.
That's right.
Yeah.
When my heart was
Wow.
all about him and his wife.
Right.
And then, going back and talking to him, he was like, now you gave her a chance to be like, at least she used her faith. And she used her faith. You have no idea what you sparked inside of her heart. And that was
Exactly.
just for me,
Exactly. Yes.
So for me,
Yes.
it was really hard when that happened. I was like, man, like, is this real? Like, is me praying with God real? Like,
Yeah.
he should have been healed,
Wow.
But the thing about that, I hear what you said.
Yeah.
Been there,
Yeah.
done that. But that's the part where we take what God told us and we play it around in our head, and we somehow think we know how it's going to be heard.
Right.
So you have no
Yes,
idea
for the-
what she heard.
That's
Right.
right.
We've talked
Yes.
about that so many times.
God.
We say stuff to someone, and then they come back a week later and
Yes.
say, when you told me blah, 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 we ain't never said that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've never said that. Never in our life have we said that.
Yeah.
So that's where you have to trust God in what you're saying.
That's good.
That you go to her, you say what God told you, and you don't figure it out in your head.
I don't
Yeah.
figure it out. That's
you
so
don't
good.
figure it out in her head.
Come on,
It's up to
Pastor.
God to speak to her.
That's
Yeah.
beautiful. That's good. Thank you for that.
Wow. Even
Heal
hearing you
me
guys.
right now.
Yeah.
That's why you do it. You have to do it. If you don't do it, then God's got nothing to work with.
Yeah, he has nothing to
Right.
work.
I go back to that all the time. You got to give God something to work with.
Wow.
You
That's good. Thanks, Pastor.
It's the truth.
I love that.
That's
We all
such a
just
good
can't
point.
sit on our hands and pray in tongues and never leave the house.
Ooh.
I mean,
my
that's
gosh.
important. Don't sit on your hands, but
Right, right.
it's important to pray in the Spirit so you do hear from God, so you do go and do things. Because loss is just a hard one.
It is.
It is a hard thing for people to deal with,
Yeah.
It is, but someone's got to speak life to them.
That's right.
Someone's
Yeah.
got to go tell them, I walked through this before. There's life after the loss of your husband.
Wow.
You can do it. It may not be easy, but you can do it if you keep the right people around you and keep moving on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good, Pastor.
I mean, even hearing you guys, even what you said, Ralph, that's a big one. Is you said I made it about me again.
yeah.
Mhm.
That's always, man. It's such a
We're
trap
good
of
at
the
that.
enemy.
We're so good at that.
We need to be really bad at that from now on. I mean, I think every podcast we've had here, I think that seems like to be the trap of all of them.
Yeah.
We go back to the it's on me
And
again.
me. It's all
Yeah.
me.
You know, and I know for me, same thing. When he passed, there was an awakening of my spirit of like, Holy Spirit going, is this serious to you now?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Not in like a condemning way, but of like,
Correct. It's
you
life
know,
and death.
this is Christianity. This is real.
Right.
You know, and it was like was this real to you now?
Right.
And like for me, so I'll share something. So like, I felt in my spirit to go to the hospital.
Yeah, come on.
So I went to the hospital, and I said his name, and I was like, I need to get back there and pray, and like I started crying, and the lady was like, didn't give me the answer I wanted,
Right.
so forth and so on. But it was like I left there because in my head I was like, he's getting up, and they wouldn't let me through,
Right.
so forth. And I was like, man, but it made me realize I was like, I took her no. You know what I mean? I think
wow.
about,
Oh,
you know what I
wow.
mean? I took her no, and I was like, okay. But I think about the woman with issue of blood.
Correct.
Yeah.
She
Come on.
pushed through everyone
I
and was
love
like,
her.
I'm
Yeah.
going
I
to
love
touch
the
Jesus.
story of
Yeah.
her. I'd
And
love to meet her.
Yeah, but it
I'd
made
love
me
to meet her.
it made me realize,
Seriously.
like in my heart of like, do I fully believe this?
Correct.
Ooh.
Right.
You know,
Right.
Mm.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, am I
Yes.
hungry enough to do something?
To push
It
through.
is something, and I'll never. And I remember I got in the car and I drove away,
Mm.
and like that's when God began the discussion of like, this needs to be real to you, and He said, this is real, Abel, and like. He had me read like Romans 5 and 6 over and over and over and over and over and over. And
So what was in there?
Yeah, I was gonna say, what was your takeaway?
Good job.
That the gift far outweighs the crime.
Well, okay, take
Say
the
it
roof
again?
off
I'm
that.
not-
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. What-
I know.
take the roof off gift and take the roof off crime.
Right.
In the
So
loss.
like to me, sickness, death, and all that came from the curse.
Correct.
But His gift, His grace outweighs that.
Right.
So no matter what, grace wins. In other words, like you said, life has to win.
Right.
If we believe what we believe,
Right.
life has to win,
Right.
no matter what. Like you said about Jesus, His mourning, He mourned, but that mourning took Him to a place where He
Right.
raised Lazarus from the
Ooh,
dead.
come on, wow.
And like,
Mm.
I'll say it for me, I'm not there yet.
Correct. Yes.
You know,
Yeah, me either.
but it's possible.
Right.
It's possible. And like the Romans 5 thing, He's like, Abel, like what I did for you is greater than any sickness, any COVID, any cancer, any,
Right.
and like
Right.
I could feel this thing of like Holy Spirit going, Abel, I need you to get this. I need you to get serious about this, And like it just begun a journey of like, okay, I need to start praying for people again.
Right.
You know what I mean? I need to start. I'm sitting on my hands. I've been sitting on my hands.
Okay, I'm gonna throw something else out
Yeah,
there.
yeah,
Yes.
please.
All right. So we have the Bible. We talk about Jesus. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And because of Jesus, we get a free ticket to.
Heaven.
Okay. So I miss people. I love people. Why do we get so upset when they leave this earth and go there?
Because of me?
Because I'm selfish.
Because I miss my grandma's
If
candy?
that place is that amazing, You know what I mean?
We'd be
If
happy.
that is amazing, that's the end goal. Why do we get so upset when people leave here and make it to what they lived their life for?
Dang, that's good.
Yeah.
It's lost. It's
Yeah.
back to that of them
Yeah.
not being here, which is back to the selfish, the pride, and all of that. And we can't celebrate death. That's not at all what I'm saying
Yeah.
either. That is not what I am saying. But I'm saying is everyone I know that has gone before me is preparing a place for me. You know what I mean?
Wow.
That's what they are doing,
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
so to me that just kind of puts a little bit of a different perspective. At my dad's funeral, I played a song and it was Threaten Me with Heaven. You know what I mean? So I look at all the threats that my dad got, all the diagnoses, the doctors said to him what it would be, and they gave him 6 months to live. He lived 2 years.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Whoa, wow.
We saw some stuff in that. We were able to kind of work through some things.
Yeah.
And then, but the overall thing was, so you're going to kill me, and the end goal
Yeah.
of you killing me is
The worst thing that happened was I went to heaven.
I'm going to heaven.
Wow.
You know what I mean? It's just a little bit different perspective. But our
Yeah.
job is to live here on the earth and live out our days and do it victoriously and do what He tells us to do.
That's good.
But when we go, we go. You know what I mean? So you hear what I'm
That's
saying?
good, Pastor.
No,
Making
yeah.
sense?
Like
Making
even in your
sense?
perspective, what you're saying is like no matter what, we win.
Yeah, that's
So
Correct.
it.
like,
Yes.
like you said,
Yes.
so because of that, we need to go play. We should be loving each other. We should be having fun.
Correct.
We should not be living in fear.
That's right.
Right.
Like we should not hesitate when God tells us to go do something.
Yeah, that's
Correct.
right. Yeah,
Yes.
that's
you know,
right.
because like I love that perspective you brought. Like we should be so free.
Right.
you
Yeah.
know?
And then we wouldn't have the what ifs.
And
That's
we wouldn't
right.
have
And
the
then we
what
wouldn't
ifs.
have to be in control all the time.
Ooh, come on.
We would just lay all that self. The Bible's clear. Sacrifice yourself daily.
Yeah,
die,
daily. Yeah.
die, and live
Self.
unto Him.
It's so
and
true.
Live unto Him.
It's so true because
You
I
know?
think what happens is like obviously the person left kids, right? And it's like we can be so focused on the fact that my prayer didn't work that we forget the life that's still here on earth.
Yeah.
Correct.
We forget about the wife, we forget about the
Right.
kids,
Yes.
and we forget about being able to go and love them.
Correct.
Yeah.
You know?
Yes.
And like even like the Romans 8, for his good. Like I've seen his wife. Like looks like a brand new person.
Wow.
Right.
Like I've never been so close to her. And like I think the way the church and like she gave a word that one Sunday.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
Right. Yes.
I mean, she went through hell, and you see her worshiping.
Right.
Like it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like how do you do that?
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right. And then I
Like,
watch her with,
yeah.
the gentleman that just died in December.
Yeah.
And I watch her go and sit down beside her
Ooh,
and talk
yes,
to her.
and talk.
And you watch her pour into someone
on.
who's old enough to be her mom, but she's pouring into her. I don't know what, but I look at them and you feel
She's doing
something's
something.
amazing.
Yeah.
She's giving God something
Something
to
to work
work
with.
with.
Come
You know what I
on.
mean? But she's doing something.
Wow. That's beautiful. That's amazing. I love that.
You know?
My gosh.
Yeah. Gosh, I think.
But there's one more thing
Yeah,
in this
for
too,
sure.
and I'll try to bring this one into everything is forgiveness. You know what I mean?
Okay, take the roof
Well,
off
yeah, break
forgiveness.
that down.
What does that mean?
Like, what do you mean?
Sometimes we look at people like the situation we're talking to is like maybe he could have fought a little more. You know, maybe he could have done this a little more. Do I need to forgive him? You know,
Oh.
because I'm carrying bitterness in my heart.
Got
You know what I mean? Do I need to forgive my dad? Why did you let cancer even enter into your body? You know what I mean? And you
Yeah.
hold
Oh,
that. And
wow.
then the bigger one of all of that is we make God accountable for all of it.
Yeah.
And we get very angry at him. We cuss him out. We
easy to
just
put the
we
blame
just
sticker on.
and we blame it on him. And do we need to forgive God?
Wow.
Not that he needs forgiving. We need to express forgiveness.
to express
you know what
it,
I mean?
yeah.
But when we portray that much stuff out on him
Yes.
and dump all that on him, and then we come in on Sunday and raise our hands and go, ah, not that he needs the forgiveness, but did we keep our heart
heart
clean?
needs it.
Our heart clean,
Is our
wow.
heart clean before him?
Wow.
Unforgiveness is bad.
Yeah.
Unforgiveness is bad. Forgiveness is amazing. And to me, it's so important in the Bible because we need to do it. And it's mentioned a lot.
Tons. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's mentioned a lot.
I mean, even
you
when
know?
Jordan was here talking about healing, he said the biggest thing was unforgiveness.
Yeah.
Yes, big time. Big time. So we have to like to me, just listening to you a little bit, I don't know what you need to do this, but it's like, you know, what's your really feelings about that nurse who wouldn't let you in?
Yeah.
Do you need to forgive that nurse? Seriously.
Oh, yeah, no idea. I had to. Oh, are you kidding
look at
me?
all nurses now and say they won't let me do what I want to do?
That's
No,
true.
yeah,
Because-
yeah.
You
because
know what I'm saying?
unforgiveness
Well, can I
spreads.
be honest? I'll be
Unforgiveness
honest.
spreads,
Because
yes.
she was a Christian.
Sure.
And she started to like preach to me of this whole he's in a better place and da-da-da and
That's
da-da-da.
hard to hear in the
And
middle
I
of
was
that.
very hard to hear. I was like, no, on earth as it is in heaven.
Amen.
And like,
Praise the Lord.
Like,
Let me try.
you know,
Right.
and I cried in front of her.
Wow.
I cried.
Good
I
job.
bawled.
Good
I
job.
said,
Good job.
just let me get down there, you know. And like she gave me she spoke something I didn't want to hear. She gave me
Yeah.
a gospel that. Here's the thing though. This is where I love God because I went to God.
Good
I got in my
job.
car and I went to God and I was like, God, she just preached to me her gospel, and she said, and God said, Abel, that's not your gospel.
That's not your gospel.
Like he was like, that's not the truth that I put in you. That's not who I've called you to be. Now she might be who God called her to be, but this
Correct.
is so I was like, okay, what's my gospel? And he goes, Abel, Romans 5. And like I said, that's where it began.
Wow.
You read Romans 5.
Right.
He says, Abel,
Right.
my gift far outweighs the crime no matter what. And he's like, I need you to believe this.
Wow.
I need you to believe this even through every loss, everything.
Exactly.
And like I'm now stronger because of
Correct.
you know, I think we all loss either makes you or breaks you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
has
It might
the
be broken
potential
first.
to, yes,
But
yes.
I know for me, through the losses, I've gotten closer to God and my faith has gone up. You
Right.
know what I mean?
Right.
Where I know some people might do the opposite, where it's like I'm done with God.
Yeah.
You know? Has
Yeah.
that ever happened with any of you?
Well, I think for me, what helped me not go there was Romans 4.
Okay.
And it says it's the goodness of God that leads men to repentance. And that's why I started taking roofs off. And I was like, what does repentance mean? And it means a
Right.
change of heart, a change of mind. And then I was like, well, your goodness is supposed to change my heart, you know? And I'm like, well, before it was just like, I give up, God, like I'm not going to do it. And I was like, so what are my steps? What do I do? And he's like, you look for my goodness. And I'm just like, how can I find your goodness when you took away my grandma? And that was a lie I was believing until I heard it. And it was like, oh, he's still good. God is still good. Like, I didn't get the outcome I wanted, but God is still good. And if I eventually pursue that God is good, then eventually my heart and my mind would be changed. Is it going to be changed overnight? He has the ability to do it, but most of the time, he's a father and a son, and he cares more about me sitting with him and spending time with him than he does about my changed heart.
Right.
You know, just how he doesn't care about, you know, us being dirty, he cares about the way that it makes us feel. You know? So anyways, that's just where I've been. It's like, okay, God, I don't want to talk to you. I want to control the situation. I want my grandma's candy. I want this. I want that. But then it's like, well, okay, where's your goodness right now?
Wow.
Even though I don't feel it, the Bible says that your goodness is here. Come and find me. And then he took me to Psalms where he's like, my goodness and mercy follow me all the day of my life.
Right.
And I'm like, so you're actually pursuing me with goodness in order to change my heart and my mind.
Right.
But I think unforgiveness stops us because then we start blaming. For a long time, for me, it was like I blamed myself because I was in another city and my this is my great grandma that passed away. I mean, my grandma had to come get me, and it took over an hour to come and get my grandma. And in Guatemala, the hospital is back in the city that I was. So by the time we got there, she couldn't breathe. And then for the longest time, I was like, it was my fault. Like, if I wasn't over there for vacation, my grandma would have been there to take care of her mom, and she could have lived, you know? And then it hit me of like, dang, I had unforgiveness for myself. I would blame myself.
Right.
And then I'm like, and then I blame the whole country because I'm like, if the medicine was better,
Right.
you know, and like, I'll blame the doctors. And then I just started blaming, you know, everything, everything. So I think unforgiveness is such a way for us to never be transformed by God.
Right.
So I think it's a biggie.
Yeah. Then sometimes we want to bargain with God. You know what I mean?
Yeah, let's talk about
if
bargaining.
If you raise him from the dead, if you
I'll
raise
do
him
X,
from the
Y, and
dead, I'll
Z.
serve you the rest of my life. I'll pray for the sick forever. And then we try to make this deal with God. One thing I've learned about God from reading the Bible and studying, he doesn't change his mind much. You know what I mean? There's not a lot of bargaining there. This is what's going on, and his word backs it up. This is who he is. You know what I mean? And we are who we are, you know, and it's good, you know? It's good. But back to what you're saying about praying for people and stopping and that kind of stuff. I thought about it. You know, what athlete do you know that was born at 24 and perfect at what he does? None. They were all born as babies with all their muscles, and they went through life, and they become the athlete that they ended up being because they kept working at it. They didn't give up. Even when they didn't win a game or didn't get the results
That's
they
right.
wanted,
Ooh, come on.
they didn't get the results, but they kept on, and they kept on, and they kept on. And to me, the Christian life should be setting the example is that. We should be growing, enduring, and doing more, you know, and not just stopping at the first failure, you know?
That's so good, Pastor. I love that.
COVID thing and you know, when everything shut down, it was almost like I stopped playing. You know what I mean? Like, especially when it came to praying for people, and I think everyone did that.
You couldn't get near them.
You couldn't get near people, you know.
It's terrible.
Where,
I'm a touchy person. I was like,
I know, right? Where I think once you go through something, like we all went through this loss.
Correct.
It was like for me, it was like an awakening of no more. Like,
Good.
game on now, devil.
Good job.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I think it brought like a more seriousness in a good way. We were at the men's Bible study, the last one December, and it was Brian or Kevin.
Yeah.
What did he say?
Kevin.
He talked about some preacher.
Yes.
He said, do you remember what was it? He said, God told him, he's like, my people aren't taking this serious.
Right. Oh, yes. That's
that what he said?
Yes.
Yeah.
Something of that nature.
Some big
That's what you
pastor.
heard. That's what counts.
Right.
Good job.
But he said it like, man, that's so true. I think so many of us here, it's like, we're not taking it serious until something big happens.
Yeah.
That's
You know
the
what I mean?
problem with
Like
it
you
all.
said, where it's like, until
When it hits me, then it becomes real.
Then it becomes
Until
real.
then, I'm just along for the ride, and
I'm along
I'll
for
make it there
ride,
at the
casual with God,
Yes.
he's good,
Mhm.
hallelujah.
end.
Yeah.
And
You
it's sad to watch Christians not want to grow and not want to learn. They just want to ride. Then when it all hits the fan, they want the faith of the guys have been in it before.
That's right.
You know?
Dang.
Yeah, and that's just hard to.
It's true.
It's just hard to push. Keep wanting to learn and growing and getting closer to Him.
Yes.
You know, that's a hard one.
Well, at this last men's Bible study, something that changed my heart was one of the men, they were like, preparing with God isn't wasted time. You know, so preparation isn't a waste of time.
Correct.
And it hit me of like, oh my gosh, like, because most of the time it's like I have nothing to prepare for, so I'm just gonna chill. You know what I mean? Like, I can imagine like the athletes on off season trying to get back in the game when they didn't even prepare for the season. You know, and all I thought about was like, now I just look at everything. I'm like, okay, God, I'm going through this really uncomfortable season where you're holding me, but you're preparing me for something beautiful.
Right.
You know, so I think preparation is beautiful. Chaba?
No, that's good. Packers fan, I know you wanted to share a story. Talk about who?
There's an amazing football player that has won too many championships, and his name's Tom Brady. You know, and you look at him, it's like what you were just saying a minute ago about the athletes that take the 3 months off and just sit around and get fat and don't do anything.
That's right.
When you look at the life of Tom Brady, he eats what does the right things for his body. He exercises that gets the best results out of his body. He's almost like what I would call a machine. You know what I mean? He just does it right. And like I think once a month he eats a pizza, but I'm sure it's probably a healthy pizza.
Dang, pineapple.
Okay. But he has learned to listen to his body and to give the body what it needs to function at the level that he functions at a guy that's in his mid-40s, which is unbelievable in football. You know what I mean? So you look at him, he's an excellent player. I respect him as that player, but I'm like, retire, buddy. Go home to your wife. But I do look at his life. And now part of me wants to know is, does he really enjoy life because he lives that strictly? I can't answer that. But I do see he is getting the results of what he is doing with his body. I don't know his priorities, but I do see that, and I'm like, wow, that's good.
Yeah, you even like, and you mentioned him. I think of Michael Jordan too.
Yeah, I thought about it too.
But like the one thing about Tom Brady is he, like you said, he's like the word we kept saying is he's serious about it.
He's disciplined.
But he's like you see his interviews. He really hates to lose.
This is true too.
You know what I mean?
But that's part of why he wins.
You hear certain interviews and you can tell, like, you know, we did okay. You can tell him like, oh man, this really bugs you.
Sure,
it
should.
Like, do you know what I mean? And I think like even like with loss, like it should bring us to a point where it's like, right?
Yeah, I mean, well, the thing is, loss is we are going to experience loss.
You know, and I think, are we giving the enemy too much freedom in our lives?
We're not allowing what the enemy is taking from us to throw us forward.
Wow.
We're allowing
Say that again.
We're not allowing what the enemy is taking from us. We're not allowing that to throw us forward. We're allowing that to just mash us down and shut us down.
Wow.
And crush us. If we take when the enemy comes at us, if we come back at him, you know what I mean? Then we become stronger at what he was. He looks at his losses. He looks at the tape. He figures out what went wrong, and he makes adjustments.
He goes back. That's so good.
He makes adjustments, and he goes forward. He doesn't say we're never going to win again.
Right.
That is really good.
That's the difference. You know what I mean?
That is beautiful.
It's like the scripture, I forget where it is, but it's like when the enemy comes in like a flood, the Lord raises up a standard against it. You know what I mean? There's nothing that stops the flood.
That's beautiful.
Nothing stops it. You know what I mean? So when the enemy comes in and tries to attack you like a flood, you just wash him out of the way.
That is really good.
You know, get rid of the thought of your head that the flood's destructive. Don't go down that road.
Yeah, it's not that. Yeah.
It's not that. It's the idea of when the enemy comes in like a flood, the Lord raises up a standard and just wipes him out of the way.
That is so
that
good.
throws you forward.
Yeah.
Wow.
That you know what?
You're not magnifying the devil.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Or the acts that he did.
Correct.
Right.
Yes.
But you're pushing back.
But you push back.
Yes.
Yeah.
And man, even hearing what you said, like, so like a quick testimony, like when my aunt passed, I would use that as fuel. So I remember I was at Eastern Michigan University, and like I was waiting for the money to come in, and like that thought came of like, what if it doesn't come in?
Yeah.
Right.
And like I saw my aunt, and I was like, no, like you have to pay for this.
Right.
Wow.
Right.
And like that night, sure enough, I checked the account and it came in.
That's so good. You know, Jocko Wilkins, you know, I just been into him. I just love him so much. About all his books, I'm just reading them, and like it works. Like I wake up at 5 and do what I gotta do. But the way that he gets disciplined is he focuses on the people that didn't make it back. Because he was a troop commander. He lost 3 of his men.
That's got to be tough.
And talk about humble. Like he literally had to be in a place of like, it was my fault. I put him in that mission. I did this. I did X, Y, and Z. I planned it. And an unforeseen circumstance came and he had losses. But now he uses that as an opportunity to wake up. He's like, I'm waking up for the people that can't make it back. You know, I'm working out for the people that can't make it back. I'm going to maximize my life for the people that can't make it back. And all I think about is James 1, where it says, count it all joy when you go through various trials. And that word trials, I looked it up, it's any unforeseen circumstance outside of your control.
Yeah.
So if it's something that's outside of us that makes us uncomfortable, brings anxiety, brings any of that, that's actually a circumstance that we have no control over. Therefore, it's a trial. And it's not. It actually says it's not from God. It's just part of the world that we live in.
Correct.
But that verse was so hard for me because I was like, I have to be happy. I have to shove down the emotion of anger and anxiety deep down inside, and I have to pretend I'm happy.
Oh,
And then
wow.
eventually I'll fake it till I make it.
Right.
Where God's showing me, it's like, no, what I'm saying is in those moments, you come to me, you allow me to hold you and take you out of the situation emotionally to detach you from that. So then you and I can have fun together and actually resolve whatever the situation is together.
It's good.
And I was like, man, that's so much more fun. No more no more pride on me. It's
Right.
I'm God's son. He's taking me out. Let's do something
Yeah,
about it.
back to him.
Yeah.
That's good.
It's good.
Man, it's been an interesting season, I think, for the whole world.
Yes.
I mean, we've lost some faith giants.
Yes.
What's his name passed away? Who came here? James Maloney,
Mhm.
right? I mean, it's
Pastor Barry bought.
Pastor
Yeah,
Barry,
Pastor Barry.
and like, I think I have a sense, and even hearing you guys, there is, you can feel an arising happening in the church.
Mm.
Like, I feel like as Graham Cook would say, like, he has a teaching called "Messing with the Enemy's Head," and he says this.
sounds like him.
And he goes, "Mess with the enemy's head." He's like, "Hey, he's been messing with yours long enough."
Correct. That's good.
And it's so true. And I feel like the church is like, okay, I'm done with this.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, enough's enough. Like, time to start pushing back.
Yeah.
Especially there's something about loss that I think does that. Like I said, you either
Spoof.
awaken or you isolate.
You isolate.
You
Yeah.
know?
Right.
It's good.
But it's taking back control of your life.
Yeah.
Like what you're saying. You're getting up now, you're reading, you're taking control of your life.
Yes,
Which
absolutely.
is something you can control.
Yes.
Instead of trying to control something that you can't.
That's right.
Yeah.
So you can control who you are. You
Yes.
can control how you respond. You can control how you view things. So then you're actually living out the Christian life when you go back to taking control of
That's
who
right.
you are.
That's right.
And remembering who you are as God's child. As
That's
for
good.
us, as we're all God's sons.
That's good, Pastor.
And that's a good
good.
kind of control. So
Yeah.
control's not bad.
Right.
Just don't push it off on someone else.
Yeah.
Right.
Or try to control it by yourself. You can show it with
Yes.
God because He's the
Yes.
one with the perspective to be like, how about you do this instead?
Yeah.
It's like you can't control people's emails and text messages at 7:30, but they're all asleep at 5.
Right.
And so like you can't control loss. Like it's choices that happen and things that happen in this world. But you know what? You and I, we can talk about your emotions and your feelings. So then we can maximize this loss for the good of the kingdom.
Yeah.
We can use it as fuel. We can use it to go and now
Yeah,
I
that's good.
experience this. Like, okay, you're like if when I lose, when I'm old, and then my dad passed away, like I get to sit down with you and have a conversation, and you get to be
Right.
like, this is how you feel, this is what you're going through. We're gonna be okay, So
Yeah. And I think even like the fact what you just said, like even with the people we've lost, like through all that situation, I felt closer to you, closer to staff. Like it did bring
Right.
a bridging
does.
like never
Mhm.
before.
it's
Mhm.
good.
You know what I mean? I think that's the other thing too, that everything works for us good. Is like, man, we've grown tighter.
Yeah,
I think even as Living Faith Church, and even
Yeah.
closer to you guys. Remember talking to you about it in your office, and you had the drumstick and everything.
Still on my desk.
Still
Yeah.
have it.
Drum-
I mean,
there's a
it's-
number of things on my desk that bring back
yeah.
those things. Stop the what ifs.
so good.
good.
Pastor, it's good. I mean, even made a podcast. Like we're
Yeah.
talking about this.
You know?
Yeah,
It's crazy.
we're pushing back.
Yeah,
That's
Chava,
good.
you want to? I think we're getting the.
Oh yeah. You want to ask your question?
So do you guys feel like we took the roof off loss?
Well, I think so.
I think so, but I think this is
definitely.
such an area too where it's like I don't know if there's any right answer.
Yeah.
It's like we all go through it differently.
Correct.
But
But the right answer is don't get stuck anywhere.
Don't get stuck.
Don't
Don't get
stuck.
stuck in the
It's good.
process.
It's
The
good.
emotions are there. Emotions come and hopefully go.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? And we learn what the good ones are and what the bad ones are. But don't get stuck. Don't
That's
put your
good.
butt in the sand and sit there.
It's beautiful.
Keep walking.
It's beautiful.
yeah.
Pastor.
So
Good job.
everyone, we just encourage you if you are going through something, connect with someone. I know
Yes.
through all of the losses I've had these amazing people to external process, and even doing it with God. Go on a walk, journal,
Yeah.
Yes.
get close.
Reach out,
Reach
like,
out.
comments, subscribe so we can know who you are.
Mm.
Feel free to comment so we can pray for you. We can be there for you.
Yeah,
If you have
please.
Instagram, like we post all the time, so feel free to direct message us so we can just be there for you.
Yeah, I think Rafa, you said it. I think we all said it, is that God is still good,
He's still good.
and that's where you got to find it. He's
That's
still
right.
good even through all the mess.
yeah.
World, I was going to say Living Faith, like this was a church thing. World, we love you, and we'll see you next time on the No Roof Podcast.
Yep. Love
Give
you.
him Jesus.
Come
Give him
on.
Jesus.
Good job.